From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams.
Good evening. If aggressive debt collectors have ever left you afraid to answer the phone,
my company will get their money one way or another.
you're not alone. Is there any way to stop them? And when we continue here tonight after a break, have you ever been on the business end of an aggressive debt collector? If it can happen to this guy, it can happen to just about anyone. The IRS raised eyebrows this week by announcing it's turning over some of its back tax collection duties to private debt collection agencies. This move has consumer advocates worried for several reasons, one of which the heavy-handed tactics of some of those debt collection people. And they're not always going after the right people. Our story from NBC's Kerry Sanders.
Felipe Reyna says all he did was answer the phone. After that, he was bombarded with calls demanding he pay a $1,300 debt. The only problem?
I did not owe the money.
Despite the collector's mistake, the calls became more aggressive and threatening, like these recordings with other victims.
You don't want to pay your bill, boss? You don't pay your bill. My company will get their money one way or another.
The FTC reports almost 20% of its consumer complaints are about aggressive, obnoxious third-party debt collectors.
What are you? Are you going to
I am the guy who was going to end your life. That's who I am.
end my life? What, are you going to kill me?
I recently recovered $275,000 for a client on an abusive collection call case, and I'm not sure that it had any effect on the conduct of the industry.
Federal law prohibits abusive calls like that, but consumer rights advocates say those heavy-handed tactics remain in part because they work. The Third-Party Debt Collectors Trade Association says the problems are small for an industry that collected $39 billion last year.
Debt collectors receive thank you notes every single day. And the reason they do is because the consumer is so appreciative of the fact that the debt collector assisted them with their payment problems.
Felipe Reyna says the debt collector threatened to call his neighbors and tell them he was a deadbeat, but he was never called by his title, Your Honor. You see, Reyna is a judge on the Texas Court of Appeals.
If these folks can do it to an appellate court judge, what do they do to the plain old blue-collar worker out there that perhaps only has a high school diploma?
The answer is on hours of recorded calls, now being investigated by federal authorities.
They're nothing but a financial terrorist.
Kerry Sanders, NBC News, Miami.
Here